Good morning, writers, and happy Monday if you're watching this on a Monday. Today, I want to talk about how to manipulate time in your stories. Now, some of you are starting to get the hang of how to move seamlessly from scene to summary to scene again. You know, when to slow down in your storytelling and when to get the character and reader to move quickly from moment in time or place to another. If you're still not sure how to do this, or even if you are, I want to give you a little help. I have this document here called Transitions. I'll be uploading to Google Docs for you to review. But the main thing for us right now to think about while reading our realistic fiction stories, we want to be able to use phrases to signify passage of time or change in place in order to summarize parts of the story. Here are some transitional words and phrases we can use to show that shift in our story. These are just examples. Um, all of a sudden and suddenly, afterward, meanwhile, the next day, later that week or month, after break, that night, the next morning, earlier that day, or earlier that week, or earlier that year, after what seemed like forever, in the distance, back at home, in math class that day. These are just some ways that you can move that time or move that place for the reader in a hurry. Okay. Um, Also on this document, which I know I've shared with you before, is a list of a whole bunch of transitions for you to use. Now, some won't work for a story, some will, but I wanted to kind of refresh that document for you. Okay. Um, so that's there for you to use too. So I want to apply it now and kind of model the thinking and how it works. So you know our story about Jeff, and you're familiar with the everyday scene of Jeff in his room. So I kind of want to start there, right here. Where's Dad? Jeff replied. I thought he was coming to get me. He was supposed to, but I guess something came up. He called about an hour ago, but I thought you would have already eaten and settled in, so I didn't need to call you, she responded. Got it. Thanks, Jeff sighed. He started to lean away from where she stood in the middle of the room. He grabbed a comic book and paged through it. So, your day, how was it? She tried again. Fine. Good night, Mom. He stared at the book. His mother leaned over him and kissed his forehead. Good night, Jeff. The door closed with a whispering huff, and Jeff was alone again. The holidays came and went. Usually a time of joy and relaxation, these particular days were filled with weirdness and anxiety. For the first time in his life, the Christmas routine changed. Mom got him on Christmas Eve and tried to make it special, despite great financial struggles. Dad took him for the round robin on Christmas Day, acting as if it was all good, showcasing his great relationship with Jeff. This hit a decidedly sour note for Jeff. It was fake. He knew it. Grandma and Grandpa knew it. Everyone else knew it. But there wasn't anything much he could do about it. The break drudged by uneventfully, and finally it was time to go back to school. On the first morning back, as Jeff was climbing down the school steps, he felt, for just a moment, a tinge of excitement to be back. He had overheard the other kids on the bus relaying stories of where they had gone and all the presents they had scored. At first he felt like crying or even screaming. Then their innocent excitement sort of bore into him, or won over him, or perhaps you could say it woke him up. As he strolled across the frozen parking lot playground, avoiding the snow dust covered icy patches, he started to notice the contrast of his warm clouds of breath as they disappeared in the pale gray sky of that early January morning. His old friends Todd and Sean made their way over as Todd managed to lose his footing on an ice spot, nearly tumbling and taking Sean down with him. What's up, Jeff? How was break? He started, dusting the white powder off his blue Columbia jacket. All right, so what I want you to notice here, folks, is that this was planting that everyday scene kind of in my story. And that one was kind of really slow, and it really kind of emphasized the emotion revealing the conflict for Jeff. But then we move forward in time. The holidays came and went is the phrase that's important to let the reader know that now we've jumped ahead. Um, and then it was time to go back to school. It was a phrase that showed us that paragraph represented the whole break. So we took a week or 10 days or whatever of break and we put it into a paragraph, summary, if you will. And then we know on the first morning back tells us, oh, we're back at school here. We're back from break. So that transition helps too. And then lastly, as he strolled across the frozen parking lot, this phrase right here that puts us in the place. So you think about how to manipulate time and space for your reader and make sure that your reader knows exactly where to be or where you are in the story. And you can control the speed uh, and the tempo and the pacing of your story, whether it's going fast or slow. Good luck today. Practice in your stories with manipulating that time. There will be times in your stories where you need to speed things up and times to slow it down. Use those transitional phrases to do that. Good luck.